Happy Tuesday. Hello everybody, it's Catherine Chong here. Welcome to another week of our Facebook Live teaching. And today we are going to talk about the 3 common diet challenges if you are currently on a vegetarian or vegan diet. And I'm going to share with you practical tips on how you can fix them. Now, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Catherine Chong and I'm the fertility dietitian based in Brisbane, Australia, where I currently specialize in fertility and pregnancy, and I run a virtual consultation practice as well as consulting at My Health Brisbane Showground and at the Star Medical Centre at Sunnybank. So my job is mainly working with women and couples who are trying to conceive to create a preconception diet plan to help them to work out the best diet to optimize their nutrients, to boost their fertility, as well as the supplement regime tailored to their health and their needs. Ultimately, my goal is I want to help you to have a healthy pregnancy and growing a healthy baby. So, like I said, today we are going to spend some time to look into the common diet challenges for vegetarian diet, and also giving you some practical advice on how you can fix them. Now, if you are not a vegetarian diet or if you are not currently following a vegan diet, please still stay tuned with me till the very end, because the information I'm going to share with you will still be really helpful for you to learn how to optimize your nutrition and to boost your fertility. Now, I want to share a bit of story why I come up with today's episode specifically. It's because a few weeks ago, I had a chance to meet this beautiful, brave young lady in my virtual consultation practice. So I would just call her Amy because it's confidentiality. I don't want to share her real name, but let's just call her as Amy. So Amy is a stay-at-home mom. Now, she has a 3-year-old daughter who lives in Melbourne. So she has been trying to have a second baby, so naturally, for about 18 months now. However, she experienced 3 miscarriages just within that short time frame, right? And she asked, what should I do now, Catherine? And she is also kind of nearly the age of 35, and she was wondering if there's anything she can do. Now, first thing first, when hearing about her story, my heart just completely dropped. So I would say that, look, it's one of my job in my practice is I commonly see, women and couples just battling through their fertility journey. And there is no normal way for sure to describe the feeling after, the pregnancy loss for sure. Especially many women who I met in my practice, like I say, quite often they might try different things. They might have gone, IVF for might be like at least a few rounds, and they just really wonder what should they be doing, right? So how do you even imagine putting yourself back together and just never mind figuring out what is the next step and just continue fighting the dream of having babies? So it's just such an empowering, moment every time I hear a story like that. So for Amy, she's really feeling frustrated why she couldn't get pregnant, and she's just tired of figuring out all herself. So that's the reason why Amy contacted me and see how I can best help her. So after, the initial consultation appointment, and I found out that she actually is a vegetarian, and her most concern is actually, is she missing any nutrients in her diet, and how to best prepare her body before trying again, the next round. So this brings me to today's episode because quite often, in my previous teaching, I talk about the best type of eating style you should be on, which is known as the Mediterranean diet. As advised where you keep your red meat intake into minimum, and you still want to have the essential healthy fats in your diet, mostly from fish, small amount of dairy products. But I haven't really touched on vegetarian diet. So today I want to do this special episode for you. If you are someone who are currently following a vegetarian eating style, or if you are vegans or plant-based, eater, I just want you to be aware that it is true that there are certain nutrients you need to be a little bit careful, but not saying that it's not good for health. My key things I want you to go away from today's session is you really want to be intentional about planning your meal to ensure that you are not missing those important nutrients. Right now, I also don't want you to get me wrong that I'm definitely not opposing the idea of having more plant food. Like what we have, in the previous classes, we talk about the wonderful things about having more vegetables, nuts and seeds or legumes. They are essential in terms of fertility point of view. They are antioxidant rich, can help you to fight inflammations and also to boost the egg quality. B vitamins, especially like folate, they are incredibly important as well. Usually you can gain it from like whole grain food, the dark leafy green vegetables, and also beans and legumes. They are important to prevent neurotype defects in early pregnancy, right? So don't get me wrong, I still want you to eat as many of plant food as possible. But like I say, if you are currently following a vegetarian eating style, or if you follow a strict vegan diet regime, potentially you might miss out certain important nutrients. And today I really want to talk you through what can you do to fix this. And I'm gonna really focus today's teaching. We're gonna focus on three nutrients that not commonly discussed in anywhere, right? So number one, we're gonna talk about choline, and secondly, we're gonna talk about vitamin A, and lastly, vitamin B12. All right, and just so you know, if you ever get stuck, if you ever need any help, I do offer a 15 minutes free nutrition assessment call, where the call is really focused on firstly understand what is your biggest fertility struggles, what is your most concerned things about your diet, and then I will advise you the best next step. Either it's for us to work together, or if not, what else can you do, right? So I do offer that, and if you're interested, please go to my website at katrinechong.com.au/book a consult, where you can see how you can book the appointment there. All right, now the next thing I want to talk about is, before we dive into the specific nutrient, is they are different definitions when it comes to vegetarian diet. So you don't get confused, I want to walk you through first. So firstly, what is a vegan diet? So vegan diet is basically defined as if you totally exclude all form of meat, including fish and eggs and milk and dairy products. All right, so you will be strictly excluding all this product, basically that is defined as a vegan style of eating plan. And under the vegetarian diet, so there are many different forms as well. If you are still having, say, milk or dairy products or eggs, that is known as the lacto-ovo vegetarians. Or if you are having fish as part of a vegetarian diet, that is known as pescatarian. So sometimes it can be so confusing as well. Now, lastly, it's known as a plant-based diet. So what does it mean? So it means that it's follow a vegetarian eating style, but it's not as strict. So for those who follow a plant-based eating plan, you will be still enjoying a small portions of fish, milk, or dairy product on a less frequent basis. Now, I also often get asked about this question. So, Katrin, should I be on a vegan diet? So, in order to boost my fertility to get pregnant? Now, the truth is there is no evidence yet, really, on whether or not you should be following a vegan diet, whether or not it will maximize the chances of conceiving. However, what we know so far, definitely by incorporating more plant food, it can reduce the risk of ovulating disorder, and also fertility problem. So like what we discussed, definitely I want you to have more vegetables, fruits, whole grain product, beans and legumes, or even nuts and seeds, right? So that is just another way of how you can optimize your egg health, all right? So what are the concerns of a vegetarian diet then? So quite commonly, you probably already know is the iron deficiency. So I'm not gonna spend a lot of time today to talk about that, but in fact, I want to draw your attention to choline. So the first one I'm going to talk about is choline. So choline is a nutrient that often get forgotten. So, but it is as equally important as folate, right? So choline is a B group vitamins and involved in many of the same folate metabolic pathway. So it is important, meaning that if you don't get enough of choline before you're getting pregnant or during pregnancy, it can increase your baby risk of developing neural tube defects, and it is also important for your baby brain development. Okay, so how much do you really need? Now, you might be surprised to hear that choline requirements actually increases during pregnancy and even higher during breastfeeding period. So now, where can you get choline? So basically, choline, it's from one of the most richest source is eggs, in particular the egg yolks. So egg yolks are one of the richest source of choline. Now, while by just having like 2 eggs a day, it will almost meet 50% of the recommended requirement for pregnant women. Even that, if you imagine, it is still unable to meet your daily requirements. So here's are some tips for you. So if you are a non-egg eater, the chances are you're not going to get enough of choline. So what you want to do is you want to focus on other plant-based choline-rich food, but saying that you probably would need a more larger amount, such as shiitake mushroom, beans and legumes, nuts and seeds, and cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, Brussels sprout, cabbage, and cauliflower, right? Now, if you can't or don't want to consume any eggs, then I would highly recommend you definitely need a choline supplement. Now, the tricky thing about choline supplement is it's not always added in prenatal multi, or if it does, the amount is often very little, very small, right? So it's still not going to be enough to meet 100% of your requirement. So if you're curious right now, have a look at at the back of your prenatal multi and have a look whether it does contain any choline in there. But definitely, I think the best way for you is you want to reach out to your fertility dietitians or even myself to help you to do a review of your supplements, or even have a look, assess your diet and see are you really missing the choline. And you want to be really careful. Again, there's so many different forms of supplement out there. Now, there are 2 types of choline that have been studied well, and it's safe to use as a supplements during pregnancy, so you want to get that right as well. So again, the best way is to speak up with a fertility dietitian, or if you need my help, drop me a DM or schedule a 15 minutes free nutrition assessment call consult with me, and then we can discuss how we take the next best step. Alright, let's move on to our second nutrient today that we're going to focus on. Is called vitamin A. Alright, now this probably will scare you a little bit, right? So you often hear about you need to avoid vitamin A during pregnancy, right? While it is true, too much of certain type of vitamins A is actually toxic and can cause birth defects. At the same time, we also want to make sure that you get enough. A lot of people not aware about vitamin A is that your requirement is actually increased during pregnancy and even at the highest during lactation. So vitamin A is extremely important for your baby development in terms of the vision development and for the baby's immune function. The concerns are, given that vitamin A is fat soluble, so if you have too much, it can store in your liver. Same for the baby as well, and that's where too much of vitamin A, in specifically what we call the preform of vitamin A, can lead to liver damage, right? So in simpler terms, so like I say, it depends on the type. So there are two types of vitamin A. One is called the preformed vitamin A, which, like I highlighted, if it's too much, it can have the toxic effect. So it can commonly found from the supplement, but also naturally present in meat, chicken, fish, and dairy products and milk. Now, the second type is what we call the provitamin A. You may also commonly, seen as beta-carotene. So it is naturally occurring in many plant foods, from leafy green vegetables or carrots and sweet potato. It is also typically included in prenatal, like pregnancy multi, as the form of vitamin A. Now, this form of vitamin A has been shown to be safe during pregnancy, and there's no safety upper limit. Okay, so you may also see some supplement, they might combine the both of the type as well, right? It is the preformed vitamin A, or as the retinyl acetate or retinyl palmitate, that you need to be really cautious about. When you have it too high, it can lead to toxicity and birth defects for your baby. So that's for sure. You want to be extra careful, right? So you might be thinking, so Catherine, if I'm on a vegetarian diet right now or vegan diet, and I can gain from sweet potato or carrots, for example, right? What's the concern then? You might be thinking, all right, I'll just eat plenty of sweet potato and carrots in the diet. That could help to maximize your vitamin A. The truth is, the provitamin A, like I said, the type of vitamin A coming from your vegetables, are often getting absorbed very, very small amount only. So meaning that they either don't get absorbed at all, or they doesn't really get converted as much as the active form of vitamin A. And to give you an exact number, based on the data, and only 3% get absorbed into the active form of vitamin A in your body. So it all sounds confusing. So what should you do? So here are the practical steps for you. So simply put, if you are vegetarians and you are still consuming, say, milk and dairy products, or if you accept to having some, or if you're having, eating fish from time to time, the chances are you might be still able to meet your vitamin A requirement. If you are a strict vegan, meaning that you don't have any form of animal meat, no, milk or dairy product, you will not be obtained enough or any of the preformed vitamin A unless it's through supplement. But at the same time, this is risky. Like I highlighted to you, you need to be really careful when selecting the right supplement. Make sure that it's within the safe amount. So again, best to do this under the consultation with a fertility dietitian, because you really want to make sure that when you are trying to conceive, or even if you're during pregnancy or breastfeeding, you want to make sure that things that you eat and also supplement that you take is safe for you and the baby. Alright, now let's move on to our last nutrient that we're going to talk about today is vitamin B12. Okay, so vitamin B12 also plays such an essential role when you're trying to get pregnant and also pregnancy. So basically it is involved what we call in the scientific term is called methylations. So it is required for proper blood formation, neurological functions, and DNA synthesis. If you have an insufficient amount of B12, the risk of miscarriage, having the babies having neurological defects and preterm deliveries can actually increase. So B12 is definitely one of the key nutrients that we want to monitor, and especially if you are following a vegetarian diet, we definitely want to have a look at your blood test and see what's your current level and do you need the extra vitamin B12 supplement. Now, I also want to highlight to you is that for baby, right, B12 deficiency, actually, it's a serious matter as well, because it can lead to failure to thrive, problems with movement, delay in reaching their development milestone, as well as anemia, which is the lack of the red blood cell and oxygen. So many factors can also affect the absorption of B12 as well, so it's not as straightforward as having more B12 food or having more supplements. So but where can you get B12? B12 mainly found almost exclusively in animal-based products, and also some of the fortified food like breakfast cereal and nutrition is. So what do? Again, if you eat very little or no animal food at all, including fish, chickens, meat, dairy products, you definitely ensure that you get enough of B12 supplement. Hence, I would highly recommend you to take a B12 supplement, and you want to also again look at the best active form of B12 that is included in your supplement. Another way, how do you know whether you're currently lacking B12, is go and have a blood test. So discuss with your doctors and ask the doctors to check your B12 level to see whether you've got a deficiency, and it will be helpful to speak to your fertility dietitians or myself to work out, okay, can we maximize from real food, or what is the best form of B12 supplement that you can take to enhance the absorption. Alright, so here we go. So that's all for today's teaching session. So I hope that you have learned as much as I do as well. Final thoughts for today. So before I go, I would really love to hear from you. Which are the pregnancy nutrients you think you are missing right now in your diet? And secondly, how would you do differently starting tomorrow? Share with me in the comment box below and let me know, as I'm always interested to know from you any insights, so that I can also learn how I can best help you. As I always say, insight without action makes no difference. Make sure you always grab what you have learned from our weekly teaching sessions and transform them into your daily practice and do the work. Don't forget to press subscribe to our channel and click on the bell button so you will always get notified when we go live, and share our video if you find this useful. Until then, until next week, stay safe and healthy. I will catch you again next Tuesday, the same time. Bye for now.